Here's Rob Dibble.
I mean, I could say too soon. I mean, is it too soon as you are reeling from the sting of being ousted in the conference finals, and then the dude's dropping on? You're already talking about whether or not the head coach should be fired, and obviously Brunson's like not having it. He's like, dude, you actually asked me that question? You know, I mean,
what if Brunson knew already and he was saying that just to make it feel like, oh, I had no idea, I've been blindsided. But his dad's an assistant coach. You would think that he would have been tipped off somehow, some way.
Nobody knows the end game here. You know, nobody knows what James Dolan's
No one
do,
knows
right?
that. I don't think James Dolan knows the
exactly.
end game.
So, you know, I just, to me, again, you're already talking about who's going to replace him and stuff. I'm 24 hours into, I still can't believe you did that. I still can't believe you know, because, listen, I'm not a great fan of Stephen A. Smith, but he does know the NBA and he knows
he's
a lot of
upset about it now. He
said before it happened, the stupidest thing the Knicks could do would be to get rid of Thibodeau. Thibodeau's not your problem.
No.
Just like I say this all the time. Like, the people getting on Karl Anthony Towns. You think Karl Anthony Towns was the reason they didn't win? You know, I mean, I have a hard time with that. They got by the Celtics with them. They got by some really tough competition to get to where they are. Now, looking up what the Pacers did, very impressive. When we had Jonathan Coachman on, and when we've talked about this, and we'll replay that for you a little bit later on, Pacers have played great on the road. I mean, they beat up some of their competition between the Knicks and the Cavaliers, some of the, you know, heavily favored teams in the Eastern Conference in their buildings. You win in other people's buildings, you're not afraid of anybody. So that's one of the things that Tom Thibodeau can't, you know, stop the confidence in the Pacers. And I'm a big believer in tip your hat to the Pacers, man. Why is this about the failure of Thibodeau and the Knicks as opposed to, for me, give the Pacers some credit, man? They played their asses off.
Well, what are the Suns doing? The Suns are hiring the assistant coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers who lost to the Pacers before the Knicks even could lose to the Pacers. And I would say the Pacers clobbered the Cleveland Cavaliers, unlike the close games they had to win against the New York Knicks.
Right.
It just doesn't make any sense. You would think, though, that if you're going to make this move, you already have the replacement in the back of your mind.
That's another thing Jonathan Coachman said. You already had this list of good guys. I don't say anybody's great.
I don't think any of them are good.
Good guys that are available. Well, they're available because why? They were canned by somebody else.
I got the all right. I got the list. I think this is New York Times. It might be a combination of a bunch of publications that I kind of put together today. Now, this is no particular order, but I stacked it up in an order for our show. The first guys I put are the three Mikes. The Mikes of the NBA, M-I-K-E. These Mikes, they find homes everywhere. I think these three Mikes in particular have played or coached for at least 10 to a dozen teams themselves, and together maybe they got the whole league under their belt. First Mike is the Mike everyone's talking about, Michael Malone, the guy that Denver sent packing right before the playoffs. Obviously, this championship team thought he had nothing to do with their championship a couple of years ago, and they sent him packing. Michael Malone, I guess, is your number one seed or your short odds for getting this New York Knicks job.
All right, Malone is a Queens, New York guy.
So and his dad, I think, was an assistant at one point for the New York Knicks. So there's a connection there.
He started his coaching career as an assistant and a scout with the Knicks way back in 2003, 2004.
So he knows Dolan.
Knows the Cleveland Cavaliers because he worked there. Then Golden State and Sacramento. Then he spent, since 15, was the Denver Nuggets coach and got them a championship.
Wow, 10 years.
Yep.
Got him a championship. And they said bye-bye.
Yes.
Very interesting how that worked.
Well, and you did it in an abrupt, at the end of the season where he was 47-32, and which I think is pretty damn impressive. And
really.
You basically sent him packing, and now you totally changed the
Did they get better?
I thought they got worse.
I thought they got worse.
I thought they got worse because
I thought they needed a coach a couple of times.
All right, let's just say we're fighting a war and we kill the general of your army. You know, I mean, what does it do to the morale of your army? Like, we lost our top general. I mean, I look at this like that. And so you lost your top coach, and okay, we're gonna have the interim coach lead us now. Well, does that make us better? Does he have the same kind of confidence in us that this other guy had that helped us win a championship 2 years ago? I mean, I'm serious about this because these are grown men. They're not kids. This isn't like you're changing the rec league basketball team coach.
And they got a short
or the high school.
Right. They're not going to be playing for 50 years.
And
they
so
only got a certain amount of
you
time.
don't like to start over. We've grown and grown and grown. I'll tell you what, when we lost Pete Rose, and I wasn't there for his tenure. I was there for 2 years, actually a year and a half. And he had 4 second-place finishes. Then he got let go, and we finished 5th. We got way worse when he was suspended. And then the guy who took over was our bench coach, Tommy Helms, Rookie of the Year, back after Pete was Rookie of the Year. I mean, these guys had long careers, and he was fired right after that was over. And that's how we got Lou Piniella. And so we brought in a guy that was a clutch player, was already a manager in the major leagues, was really established. And I was still young enough to where when I met Lou, when he was introduced, and I was 2 years in the major leagues, I had followed his career. I knew him really well, and to me, he was a great fit because he was gritty and nasty and a clutch person. So I was like, if this guy is almost as close to Pete as Pete, and I didn't get along with Tommy Helms at all. I've already talked to you about this extensively. I was like, great replacement. If you do that and these guys are on that page with this guy, like I said, they're calling up the Nugget players. They're calling up these guys, and these guys all speak glowingly about him. You're going to love him, dude. He's one of you. He's just like Thibodeau. He's going to fit in great there. If you get that and then you get that vibe when you meet him for the first time, I think things could be fine for the Knicks. But if it's any of the other stuff, like, no, man, you're going to hate this guy. He's ridiculous at practice and blah, 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 blah. And or he doesn't even care about what you guys do, when you're not playing basketball and stuff like that. And he's not great with the X's and O's like Thibodeau. Yeah, it could be a nightmare hire.
Well, that probably counts out the second guy on this list, Mike Budenholzer, who was not going to get you Giannis because Giannis sent him packing after they won a championship. He's not going to get you Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant and them Suns sent him packing pretty quick after his short career there as head coach there. And Budenholzer, to me, is like, I still think of the episode of Fresh Prince where Will joins the basketball team for the first time, and the head coach is like, what's the game plan? Pass the ball? No, get the ball to Will. Like, that to me is Budenholzer as a coach. I think you should count him out immediately. Don't even entertain this. Some people have him on a short list, and I don't know why. My last Mike, and I put him in the same category as Budenholzer, Mike Brown. Please do not put Mike Brown on this coaching staff, but I keep on seeing that name pop up. Haven't they already gone down?
They already went down that road.
Yeah, no retread on that.
We did that with Edsel here.
That would be a catastrophe. All right, let me get into some of my wild cards. I'll take either Jeff or Stan. Bring back the Van Gundys, maybe both of them. What if you got 2 coaches for the price of 1? Because the Van Gundys will do it.
You've already done Van Gundy, though.
I know, but both of them? You've never done both of them.
No.
Well, you did do both of them, but one was an assistant, I guess.
First of all, Stan's doing a great job as a commentator.
And both Van Gundys love Thibodeau, and they are so mad about this. So.
And, both Van Gundys, I think, have enjoyed being away from the sport, but being around the sport. I mean, once you get on this side, I always thought Bill Cowher would come back in football. I was like, that guy's a gamer, a lifer, and he's been doing the broadcasting ever since, Listen, I just think whoever you bring in, whether it's a former coach who knows the stuff or maybe has a good relationship with James Dolan, you got to sell yourself to this new group of guys.
Well, I got the perfect guy for that. The former Villanova head coach, Jay Wright. I mean, come on, dude. If you're going to win over Brunson and Josh Hart and Bridges. Like, there's
I
no
like Jay.
better guy than the guy who had the job for their college careers. I think that
that's actually
that's
I
the
haven't
first
even
call
heard
for
that,
me.
and
That's the first call
that's
for me. And he is one of
all right,
these
let's put it
guys
this
that went
way.
to
Like
the
you already
TV.
said this when we started the show. You have to go to Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns and these players and be like, okay, this is our short list. Just a few thoughts on, would you want to play for this guy or this guy or this guy? Let's just take 3 guys. And Jay Wright's one of them. And Jay Wright is the most popular consensus, your top 5 guys. And they go, everyone says Jay Wright. I think that sells itself. Because now it's like, listen, this guy, he coached them in college. They want to play for him because they're going to be the salesman, not just Jay, for the other guys who don't know him that didn't play for him yet. They've got to be going around, like I always say, the little ants. They're going to go around and talk, and they're going to be like, oh, dude, you're going to love this guy, and we can win with this guy. We can get to the next – because isn't that what we're doing here? We fired the guy so we can get to the next level and win a championship. So whoever you bring in – this guy's won national championships. He's never won an NBA championship.
I think that the players would also give thumbs up to Hurley. I just, knowing the situation, talking to Dan.
Well, you just jumped right over Rick Pitino.
I did jump over Pitino.
You dog. No, you got to throw Pitino out there. He's St. Johnson. He's saving college basketball.
Put him on the end because I think he is a very intriguing option. I want to get done.
He failed miserably in the NBA.
I just want to get done with Dan Hurley in the conversation because I don't think it's going to happen, man.
By the way, breaking news, Red Sox win. 11-9. Here we go.
I just think that the writing was on the wall with LA, and then when he came back and he was doing coaches shows with us, and he would say off record, off camera, and everything. I guess it's on record. He's like, "You guys really didn't think I was going to go to LA, did you?" And like, I think the same thing with James Dolan run Knicks. If James Dolan wasn't running the Knicks, maybe it's a different story. I don't think it's a better fit than what he's got going on at UConn right now. So
well, let's stop there. His wife and he both texted each other stay at the same time. They were both wanting to stay at UConn and not do the LA job. Everything runs through Dan's wife. There's no doubt in my mind.
And Andrea has said that LA is not home,
right.
But New York. And I know Manhattan's really not home either.
Okay,
but
they're New Jersey people.
It's a lot closer to Jersey than what LA is.
It is, but like I said earlier, you're working for someone that is volatile in how he treats his employees, his former players, et cetera, et cetera.
Dan Hurley.
And exactly, this is a people person. Dan loves his kids. They're part of his family. They always will be. Klingon, all those cats come back. They will always be welcome around Dan Hurley. And I just think, but plus if you're Dan and you've gotten your coaching staff to say, then you're either taking them with you or you're just going to say you guys are stuck. I'm leaving. I'm going to the Knicks. I don't ever see him doing that to somebody.
Tom Moore looks like he could be on that New York staff, though, doesn't he?
Tom Moore. If I was going to cast not only a role in Hollywood for this dude, I mean, honestly, I think he fits in the NBA as a bench coach.
Yeah, for sure,
100%. But here's the thing: you're putting your eggs into James Dolan's basket. I mean, as much as I don't like the bus basket, I like the Laker job way more than I like the Knicks job. I've been covering this for a long time, and the Knicks have been an absolute disaster for 30 years since Dolan got control. And just when things are looking good, what does he do? He throws another wrench into the machine.
That's why I think you're going to have to sell Jay Wright on taking the job.
Right.
I think he's the right guy for it, no pun intended.
Let's just say $50 million for 5 years. Okay. Do you even last 5 years?
Right.
So if you're Jay Wright, is it worth the headache and my, the stress and all the other, because man, you got a lot that comes with being a New York coach. I don't care if it's the Knicks, the Giants, you're going to take a lot of slings and arrows. Every talk show is when you lose is on your ass. Every back page of every sports page in New York is on you. Across the country, you're one of the top markets in the country. You are actually the top market in the world as far as news goes. And, so there's nowhere to hide. Jay Wright at Villanova, a lot different than Jay Wright as the Knicks coach.
That's why I think Pitino wants this action. I think
his ego would love it.
I think he wants this action big time. Listen, I proved them jerks that I could still do it in college. Now I got to go back to the pros and prove to these jerks that I can do it there too.
Yeah.
I think if I was the Knicks, my first phone call is to Jay Wright. I think Rick Pitino's already beat him to the punch. I think he's already made a phone call to Dolan, or he might even be in MSG like, just walking around, just see guys here. I was just checking things for St. John's.
Our good buddy Dom from the Hartford Current, I just got this. He put this to Hurley, and Hurley said, not another summer of that. Not up in here. And then he went on a little bit more about it, but no. He said, we're not doing that.
Excellent.
So, yeah. So he's like 2 days into practice, and you're asking me that question. He's kind of like Brunson. Yeah, I love it.
I hope it's true. Brunson was not
listen,
right.
Caravan came back. We got big man Terrace Reed. This cat, I'm sure he's friends with Tom Thibodeau. That's another thing we haven't even brought up. They just dogged out someone that's so respected in the sport.
Good point.
In every sport.
Yeah.
And it's like, you want to be next?
Point.
And I don't like following a guy who's been very successful.
No, you want to be the guy that followed the guy that followed the guy, not the guy that followed the guy.
No, I don't want to follow the guy that was the guy that they love. That's not my guy.